and welcome to North Star Stamper. Obviously, I'm not live right now because you can scoot ahead and see what I made in my video here. I'm Susan Kramer. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the state of Minnesota. I am not live because over the weekend, Tony and I went to Michigan to celebrate my dad's birthday. I won't tell you how old, but I will tell you that I celebrated my 61st birthday last week, and I'm not his youngest child. So anyway, happy birthday, Dad. I'm sure we had a wonderful time visiting. So today, I am continuing my Christmas ideas, and we're going to be using the Shepherd's Care stamp set. It is on page 56 of your mini catalog. And here are the 3 ideas that Stampin' Up! Gave us for using this stamp set. So they made a tag, and I think that's a home decor. I again forgot to see what they used there. And this card here was my inspiration. I will share that this is my second attempt at this video. I'm very particular about things in my video like shadows. So I tried late this morning and the sun came from behind the clouds and I had all kinds of shadows. So I shared this. So this was my sample card. I'm going to change a few things when I make it for you now. And on my first video, I covered up a mistake right here. I forgot to stamp Peace on Earth before I finished my whole card. So remember, stamp before you adhere, and I forgot to do that. Actually, I don't know. Anyway, so when I stamped Peace on Earth on my designer series paper, I had a little shadow, I call it, underneath the words. And so I just stamped again on a scrap of white and cut it a little bigger than my sentiment and covered it up. So only you and I know that there is another stamped Peace on Earth underneath my white piece of cardstock. So, in the catalog, the card that they made with Shepherd's Care, they had stamped the Shepard right on designer series paper, and they used this pack of country lace. I think they used this piece. I am using the same piece, but I used the gray side, and I believe this is smoky slate. Today I am using gray granite. I thought that was a good color for both the Shepard and the little town. I believe that's supposed to be the town of Bethlehem, right? If it's Christmas. So let's get busy. This is a spanner card. Isn't that cute? All right, so that's what we're going to make. I'm going to get busy here. And obviously there's no comments because I don't have viewers on my group here. So I have a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11. So it's the long way. I'm going to score, and make sure you don't cut with the dark one. You score with the light one. I'm going to score this in half at 5 1/2. Cardstock, I can make sure that's good and scored. So this time I do want to cut, and I'm going to cut this. Let me look at my notes. I'm going to cut slits on either side from 1 1/4 from the edge. So with my Stampin' Up! Trimmer, I have, I know it's upside down for you, sorry. Let me clean my track here. So when I get little pieces of cardstock or dust in my cutting track, I use just a pin, and I go through and clean out my track. Sometimes I'll blow on it, but in the video I'll just use my pin, and that goes right in there. All right, so I'm going to put my cardstock at 1 1/4 on the right hand side of my cutting, and I'm going to cut down to my, just a little bit more, down to my score line. So I'm just cutting from the end to the score. I'm actually going to turn it over, it's easier. I do like using the right side when I have smaller measurements like this. That way most of my cardstock is on the left of my trimmer. I know it's upside down, I apologize for that. Being a lefty, and I want you to see what I'm doing. So 1 1/4, and I'm going to cut to my score line. So you can see in my track that I didn't cut all the way. And so now I can just go back and keep going till I get to my score line. And there we have those 3 pieces. I think I'm done with my trimmer, but I will see in a minute. So now I'm going to fold this. Not quite perfect, but it's all right. Once we get everything else on there, you may not notice that little bit there. So I don't know if I mismeasured. Let's see what it looks like the other way. Nope, same thing. All right, so that is the beginning of our spanner card. Now I have 2 pieces of designer series paper just to add a little extra something. You could use cardstock and emboss it. That would be interesting. You could just use layers of cardstock, whatever you have. These pieces, if you cut 1 1/4 inch, I made them just slightly smaller. So you can see I'm only going to have like a 1/16 of an inch there. So they are the full 5 1/2, but I made mine 1 3/16. So 4/16 would be 1/4. So I went just a 1/16 less than my flap. I'll call that a flap. And I'm going to use some green glue so I can wiggle it a little. My glue bottle is sticky. I was playing with some other things. I'm going to switch glue bottles. So I'm going to line this up. It goes all the way down to the bottom. And you can play around with these measurements too. There we go. I'm going to bring the other one out and adhere this. Again, this is a brand new bottle, so I'm going to start in the middle of my, oh, look at that. It is very, very liquidy. It's a very full bottle. So I know I could just need a barely squeeze to get a lot of adhesive out, a lot of glue out. And again, I measured this, so I go all the way to the bottom and just a hair, literally a 1/16 of an inch, no, 32nd of an inch on either side. So there's that so far. And then I have a piece for my middle, and I just use basic white. This is 5 1/2. I went the full length by 1 5/8, which is just under 1 3/4. And again, I have just a smidge there. So a couple things I'm going to change here. You know what? We're going to hold off on this piece yet. So my Shepard, I'm using thick white cardstock because I am using my water painter to color him in. I know a lot of times I will use, let me grab all my stuff here. I'm going to use gray granite because that's the color of our cardstock. Let's see, there we go. All right. Let me pull this out. I'm distracting myself. Nobody's here and I'm distracting myself. So I used a few different colors on him there. So he's a very nice size stamp. A lot of times with these, I don't know if this is actually distinctive or not, but with distinctive stamps, a lot of times I'll use my blending brush to get in there. And I had some issues stamping my star. So I discovered that if I just ink once and stamp it, I do get a pretty good image. A little dotted with the very well-inked ink pad, but I think that's probably good for our purposes. We're going to put this away. Nope, we're going to use this actually. I'm going to move my cards because I don't want to get them wet. So I have the water painter here with just water in it. You could use alcohol or other things in your water painters. I haven't done that in a while. Maybe we'll do a class sometime with techniques with water painters. So I just put a little bit of water on the lid of my gray granite ink, and I'm just going to color him in. So I'm going to start where it's already dark and just add some color. And I think he would be in earth tone colors. So I'm just using gray granite. Pick up a little more. I'm going to start where it's dark already because otherwise I get really inky splotches. And I'm just going to go up to the lamb. And then his robe goes underneath the lamb as well. So just kind of color him in gently, gently, gently. Oh, forgot the top of his head. Oh, I made him all one color. You know what? I don't want to do that. So I'm going to clean my water painter off on my chamois. On this one, I used pecan pie. This one, I used crumb cake for his headpiece. Let's use something different. So I already colored him with gray granite. We're going to add a little bit of smoky slate. And I want to get some ink in the lid. So I keep my pad closed and I squish the top and bottom together. And then I get a puddle of ink on the inside of my ink pad. And then I'm going to add some water, just a drop. And we're going to darken in his headpiece. Smoky slate, just to make it a different color than the rest of his outfit. There. And I'm not going to show you how to fussy cut. You know how to fussy cut. I will show you a couple things that I did. And clean that off. Now that I think about it, I do want to add another color to the rope around his head and around his waist. We're going to use this one on our card today. So I'm going to take that same water painter, but I'm not going to add water to my pecan pie ink. And I'm going to, what I like to do is spin my brush around to get a very fine point. And then I can color in, I'm shaking for some reason, that rope there. And the rope there. Let me look at the stamp set. And I think, I wondered if either of the lambs had a rope around his neck, like a leash, but they don't. So we're just going to leave it like that. And it'll dry later, I believe. Okay, that was pecan pie. So I used gray granite, pecan pie, and smoky slate on this one here. And I would fussy cut it. And when I fussy cut my other two, you can see they have like some shadows along the back side here. I cut them off. You can see they're not on these two images, but they are on the stamp set right here. So I just trimmed that off. And you could trim this off too. I think that's just supposed to be dirt he's standing on. You'd have to fussy cut around the lamb's legs though. So just some ideas there. Okay. So I already fussy cut him and he's ready to go. Where's our card again? All right, now we need that spanner piece. So I have a piece of cardstock. This, I matched the gray granite. This is 4 1/4 by 1, so it goes all the way across. And then I just have some scraps here. I think some of these are, let's see, 5/16 of an inch or about 7/8 by 4 1/4. So some of these are a full 4 1/4, some are not. Like I said, I want to stamp on this piece with my piece on earth. And I'm, oh, sorry, that was kind of loud. I'm going to use gray granite. And I have a couple of different scraps, so just in case I make a mistake. Sorry, that was out. And I know my Shepard is going to be off to the right. And see there again, I got that little bit, let's see, a little bit of a shadow there. So I'm not going to use that one. That's why I had several. So now I know I can't rock this and I have to be very gentle. I can't press very hard. So you'll learn about your stamps. You can always, so down and up. There we go. Perfect. You can always take scissors and trim. So I'm getting the shadow on the bottom. So if this were a stamp I would use a lot, I would trim this rubber right here so that I don't get the shadow. Being a Christmas stamp, I don't think I'll use Peace on Earth much more than a couple more months here. So I will just leave it. And I'll remember to be gentle when I stamp and not to rock. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this on our spanner piece. Oh, sorry. This glue is coming out, so I'm just going to kind of smush it over. Oops. And this one, it's not a perfect layer, but you get the idea. It's okay. And then I'm going to put this on here. So I'm going to put it a little higher than I want it to be. And then take my glue. Sorry, we're going to go upside down for you so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, look at all that adhesive. So very gently. And I have this, my spanner piece here, so I know where my glue needs to go. So just like that. And then I can put this on. And hold it just for a second. Next thing I'm going to put is my Shepard. Oh, I have too much right there. All right. Look at that. I need to trim a little more there, don't I? Let's see, get my right scissors, my snips. Let's see. So, not exactly sure where this sheep goes, but he is cute. There. That's better. So I'm going to put adhesive here. I'm going to put my finger where I don't want adhesive, under this lamb right here. So that's where I'm going to hold it when I put my adhesive on. And I don't want to put it on his head either. So I'm going to put it on this little tuft of grass. Let's start in the middle. Then a little tuft of grass, and then around my finger. And that should be the right place to put my adhesive. Hold it down just for a second and open it. Make sure I don't see adhesive on the back. Nope. Okay, I'm going to hold it just for a second. Let it dry a little. Okay, so I put him on first, so now I can decide where I want my little town of Bethlehem. So I'm going to set this in here and find my little stamp. And again, I've been practicing, so just on scrap paper, here you can see on the other side, lots of stamping there when I was making this first card. So I'm just going to ink and stamp. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to clean my stamp off, make sure it's dry. So I'm actually just going to open this up. I'm going to put my finger here so I know about where I want it stamped. Ink, ink, stamp. Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. That was gray granite. I don't know if you follow other demonstrators, but a lot of people have been using wild wheat in place of gold, especially in cardstock. They'll put a layer of wild wheat and it looks like it's gold foil, so it's kind of interesting. So that's what I'm going to do. I have wild wheat and my star, and I have a couple here, and I'll show you what I've discovered, at least with this stamp set. You play around and see how your stamps work. So this is a clean stamp, so I'm going to ink and stamp. That's kind of dark, so we're gonna stamp again. That's a little splotchy, and that's a little light. So just play around. I think I do like the star on second generation. That first one is very dark. So I'm just going to gently ink and gently stamp. So I just used a little bit of cardstock to play around till I got the star just the way I want it. And you're not going to want to watch me fussy cut. And I did cut one, if I can find it. I need to clean up just a tad. They're just nice straight lines, so I just cut along the lines. There it is. But then you'll see that I actually trimmed 2 of the side points. Let me get the stamp back out here. So these 4 spikes are all the same length, and with the card, my card the way it is, I wanted it narrower and taller. So these 2 on the sides I trimmed. So you can see that my stamped image is not quite as wide as the one on the stamp set. And this is actually 90%. So I wanted it taller than wide. So I stamped and then I trimmed it. While I was fussy cutting it out, I just trimmed those two sides. All right, let's get this together. I'm almost done. Had you noticed the stamps in the back of the catalog? This does not have any dies with it. It's just a standalone stamp. And you know I like to buy whatever religious stamps they offer to us so that they keep offering them. So that's why I bought this one. And I saw some really cute things done with this, so I will be sharing more later. All right, so it's mini glue dot, or mini dimensional. And we'll put that right above the little town of Bethlehem. All right, we're almost done. And we can get rid of this. That was kind of messy. Gray granite again. And they have a nice sentiment for the inside, if I have it here. It says, praying that you feel the Good Shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. So that will be for the inside. So a couple things I could do. I could stamp maybe just a star or the little town of Bethlehem on my envelope. I could use some of the designer series paper on my envelope. Again, I'm going to start in the middle because I know this is coming out thick. And I'm barely pressing because this is a brand new bottle. And line that up. So, there we go. A spanner card. So you would open it like this. And that. Thank you for joining me. Happy stamping. We have one more week of Christmas this month. We have 5 Mondays in September. So I had an idea. I can't think of it right now, but join me next Monday for more Christmas ideas. Thanks for joining me. Bye.